Long, long ago, when the stars hung closer to the earth and the animals spoke in a language understood by all, the great African savanna was a place of vibrant life and gentle rhythms. Day belonged to the sun's warmth, and night belonged to the cool whispers of the wind. Yet, in those ancient times, the mighty lion, Simba, the king of beasts, was not as we know him today. He was proud and strong, yes, but silent. His roar, the powerful voice that now echoes across the plains, was yet to be found. The savannah lived in perfect harmony. Every creature had its place, its role. The agile gazelles danced. The wise old elephants remembered the paths to water, and the clever meerkats stood guard. But there was a growing unease among them, a subtle shift in the air. The nights, once filled with the soft chirps of crickets and the gentle hoot of owls, had begun to feel empty. A vital sound was missing. In a pride led by the silent king Simba, lived a young cub named Keto. Keto was different. While other cubs tumbled and played, Keto often listened. He listened to the rustle of the tall grass, the distant rumble of thunder, the mournful cry of the jackal, and the joyous trumpet of the elephant. He heard the world's song, and he felt deep within his small lion heart that something was incomplete. Why doesn't Father roar? He'd often wonder. Why are our nights so quiet? One evening, as the last sliver of sun dipped below the horizon, a terrible storm brewed. Not just a rainstorm, but a storm of fear. A human village, nestled at the edge of the savannah, was suddenly in danger. A raging wildfire, sparked by a lightning strike, was sweeping towards it, driven by a fierce wind. The animals watched in dismay. The villagers, though they sometimes hunted, were part of savannah's delicate balance. Their homes, their lives were threatened. The smaller animals scattered. The larger ones stood frozen, unsure how to help. They cried out in their own ways. The elephant trumpeted a warning. The baboon shrieked, but their voices were drowned out by the roaring flames. King Simba stood on a rocky outcrop, watching the unfolding disaster. His powerful muscles tensed, his mane bristled, but no sound escaped his throat. He felt the fear, the urgency, but he had no voice to rally the creatures, no sound loud enough to warn the distant humans, no call to command the respect needed to guide them to safety. His silence, once a mark of his solemn dignity, now felt like a heavy burden. Young Keto, hidden behind a bush, saw his father struggle. He saw the fear in the eyes of his fellow creatures. He understood, with a clarity far beyond his years, that a voice was needed, not just any voice, but a voice of power, of warning, of hope that could cut through the chaos. Suddenly, an ancient, shimmering figure appeared before Keto. It was the spirit of the savannah, a being woven from starlight and the essence of the land itself. Its eyes glowed with wisdom. Little one, the spirit's voice resonated. You feel the silence, don't you? You understand the need for a sound that can command the night, a voice to protect this land and its children. Keto, though startled, nodded bravely. Yes, wise spirit. My father, our king, he wishes to help, but he has no voice strong enough. The spirit smiled, a gentle light illuminating its form. The voice is not given, little cub. It is earned. It must come from the deepest part of a lion's heart, from courage, from compassion, and from the unwavering will to protect those who cannot protect themselves. It must be born of true love for this land. Go to your father, Keto, the spirit instructed. Show him the true meaning of a king's heart, not just his strength. Show him the voice that waits within him. With that, the spirit faded back into the starlit night. Keto, filled with newfound purpose, ran to his father. He nudged Simba's powerful leg, looking up at him with pleading, determined eyes. Simba looked down, sensing the cub's urgency. "Father," Keto whispered, his small voice filled with conviction. "The spirit of Savannah told me. Your voice, the true roar, comes from your heart, from your courage to protect, your love for our home." Simba looked from Keto to the roaring flames, then back to his son's hopeful face. He saw the wisdom in Keto's eyes, a wisdom born of innocence and pure intent. He closed his eyes, taking a deep breath and focused. He thought of the village, of the panicking animals, of his own silent fear. He thought of his beloved Savannah, burning. And then he thought of Keto, brave and trusting. He drew in another breath, deeper this time. He didn't just feel his own fear. He felt the fear of every creature, the pain of the burning earth. He felt the ancient, protective spirit of the savannah coursing through him. And then, from the deepest part of his being, from a wellspring of compassion and fierce resolve, a sound began to emerge. It was a low rumble at first, shaking the very ground beneath their paws. The animals nearby flinched, then looked up in awe. The sound grew, gaining power, intensity, and a resonant depth that had never been heard before. It was a roar, a thunderous, magnificent sound that tore through the night sky, drowning out the crackle of the flames, silencing the wind, and echoing across every corner of the vast savannah. It wasn't just a sound, it was a command, a warning, a promise. The animals, who had been scattered and afraid, suddenly paused. They heard their king's voice, not just with their ears, but with their very souls. It was a call to unity, a surge of courage. Guided by the sheer power and direction in Simba's roar, the elephants, in an incredible display of strength, began to stomp down the dry grass, creating a wide firebreak, diverting the flames. Buffaloes charged through smoking patches, stamping out smaller fires. The gazelles and zebras, usually timid, moved with newfound purpose, nudging the confused villagers toward the safety of the riverbed. Simba continued to roar, his voice a beacon in the chaos. Each roar wasn't just noise. It was an instruction, a rallying cry, an infusion of hope. The fire, though powerful, began to lose its battle against a unified force of savannah's creatures, led by their king's mighty voice. As the first rays of dawn painted the sky with hues of orange and pink, the fire finally receded, defeated. The village was saved. The savannah had been scarred, but not destroyed. And standing tall on the rocky outcrop, his mane shimmering in the morning light, was Simba, the king, no longer silent.